Curtis Chandler, Region 2 secondary finalist, an 8th grade language arts teacher at Wamego Middle School. He's been a teacher for 8 years. Curtis says, I was the student that every elementary teacher prayed would not be on their class roster. One of his first school memories is of his mother parent-teacher conferences and asking why his desk is in the corner facing the wall. Isolated in the rest of the class, his reply was simple, that's where I Despite his uncanny ability to disrupt class, Curtis was fortunate to have teachers who cared to work with him. While reading a book as a 4th grader, Curtis discovered a link between school and his own life. As a teacher, Curtis strives to enhance student learning and help students integrate and apply content from various subject areas. His students work to synthesize information by creating short videos, podcasts that are shared with other teachers and students over the World Wide Web. He designed an exploratory course to help students learn the programming, science, math, logic, and language needed to create their own video games. Curtis says, I have succeeded in helping students move beyond being consumers of media and transforming them into creators and producers of the information. His teacher chair is in the same place in his current classroom, facing the wall, isolated in the rest of the class, but it's empty. Curtis Chandler, the student that few teachers wanted, is now a teacher busily working to create classes of which every student wants to be a part of. And Curtis, you've kind of had an interesting weekend, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
He found a deer that liked his car as well as he did. Curtis Chandler.
Last time at the Regional Teacher of the Year banquet, when my name was called, I became so rattled that I completely forgot about my speech, left it in my pocket, and instead just rambled in front of a microphone for what seemed like a very long time. On the way home, my loving wife, who's here with me tonight, who always manages to help me feel better, said 2 things to me. First, she said, I'm very proud of you. And after that, she said, that speech was terrible. I share that because one of the lessons that I'm striving to share with all students and with teachers alike is that we can learn something from anything and from everyone. Even the most embarrassing of circumstances where we or someone we care about manages to underachieve in front of all their peers, we can learn something. And that while mistakes are an inevitable part of everything we do at home, at school, at play, at our jobs, learning from those mistakes is an essential choice that every single one of us must make. You see, each of us, we work with students to do our absolute very best. All of us in this room are working with young people to help to shift their gaze, to help them see beyond here, to move beyond the feelings and circumstances of the present and beyond that social and emotional roller coaster that they find themselves on, and to help them to see things as they really are. To not get swept up in things that fade with the dimming of the lights and the music and the dispersing of the crowd, and to help them to see that what they choose to do now or choose not to do will greatly impact the rest of their life. It will largely determine what they're able to do for themselves and for others later on. And our greatest challenge is to help this gifted and talented generation of young people to realize their potential, to help them to become what we need them to become. And in education, all of us, parents, teachers, businessmen, we do this by creating a sense of urgency to learn, to apply, and to become something. As teachers, we prepare for classes if everything depends upon us, and then teach in ways where learning truly depends upon them. And we take these digital learners and transform them from mass consumers of media and information and turn them into creators of original ideas and content, and teaching them what they don't already know about technology, that 1 or 2 tools, no matter how simplistic, will quickly exceed and supersede 100 cell phone apps that we hardly know how to use. We do this by providing essential skills and content, rigor and relevance, but also by remembering to teach our students that ultimately how we treat people, our ability to laugh at our mistakes from time to time and learn from those, are far more important than our ability to correctly decipher figurative language in Romeo and Juliet. Whether you're a teacher, a legislator, an educator, a businessman, a parent, a grandparent, let us all continue to do this great work. Let us all work to create learners and never settle for teaching students, to work to shift their gaze and to help them to learn something from everyone and from everything. Thank you. Those of you who know me best know that very rarely am I at a loss for words, yet here I stand. I think I need to start where I think we all start, and that's just with gratitude. Thank you so much for every organization that put this together, this chance to develop professionally, to network, but to celebrate this profession. Thank you so much. I need to thank everybody who came out in support of every single finalist, semifinalist, and for education. This is just overwhelming to see so many people on the same page. I need to thank my own friends, family, and colleagues for making the trip. I need to thank my first teacher, my mother, who raised a very, very large family of 5 children, many of whom grew up to be teachers. Some of them grew up to be teachers and then married teachers. I know there's something there. I thank my wife for all that she does and continues to do to hold everything together, and for the reminders about how my speech is going. I'm so grateful for my boys, Kaysen, Cade, Kale, and Cannon, for forcing me to continually revisit how it is that people learn by asking such great questions like, which one's hotter, lava or the sun? And how do we know that? And what would happen if we threw our jack-o'-lanterns off the roof? They are indeed my favorite students. I thank so much my administrators, Vicki Jennings, my building principal, Doug Conwell, our school superintendent, for all that they do, for providing opportunities, not just for me, but for all the teachers to develop professionally, to develop leadership, but also so many opportunities to learn to follow and to serve. I am truly blessed to be in the district that I'm in. I need to thank God for the divine currents that seem to have led me and so many of us into education, and for the providence that allows me to continue to cross paths with so many wonderful, talented individuals. Ultimately, it is that faith, that belief in things that we can't see, that we know are possible and true, that I think leads so many of us back into the classroom, day after day, to work with students to help them achieve things that they would never believe possible. And I have no doubt that faith is a huge part of what we do on a day-to-day basis. I would like to share just one anecdote, one that's recently become a favorite of mine. I was at a conference for authors and got to speak with an author who's working on a child's book, a historical fiction book on a wonderful dolphin that I'd like to share with you in just a few of my reflections, if I can keep those together. This is the tale of Pelorus Jack. Pelorus Jack is a rhesus dolphin off the coast of New Zealand. New Zealand is a beautiful place. I don't know if you've been to the South Pacific and had a chance to visit. It's a wonderful juxtaposition of beauty and danger because the beaches are just breathtaking. But the waters, the tides, the currents, and the rocks are some of the most dangerous in the world. There is one part that's particularly dangerous known as the Cook Strait. Now, the Cook Strait has claimed the life of many a sailor and many a sailing vessel. None of them, however, under the watchful eye of Pelorus Jack. You see, when these ships would near the passageway, for years, this dolphin would pull up alongside and continually break the water and guide them to safety. Day after day, year after year, ship after ship, he did this. When he became famous, some people thought he'd make a great trophy, and they tried to assassinate him using rifles and harpoons and snares. And they never succeeded. But despite the hostility, he continued to come back day after day, year after year, ship after ship, until at the end of his life, as far as we know, he died of natural causes. As I've been thinking about what I might say, I've had a few thoughts that I'd like to share with you. First, Jack the Dolphin reminded me of the importance of stewardship and accountability, the need for each of us to do our very best with everything and everyone that's entrusted into our care. Every vessel, regardless of size, shape, color, or level of hostility, warranted Jack's attention and protective watch. Likewise, each of us is accountable in fulfilling every responsibility entrusted to us, whether great or small, and regardless of whether it's something that we're working on by design or whether it's been brought to us by currents beyond our control. Second, I'm deeply moved by an animal who makes such great effort to live what I see as a consecrated life, wearing himself out diligently to help others. It's truly amazing what dolphins and people can accomplish when we resolve to spend our time lost in the service of those around us. Third, I've reflected on how all of us should lead in this room. I'm fascinated by the means of which Pelorus Jack guided. I can't really speculate what goes on in a dolphin's mind, but I'm guessing that he had his reasons. I found it interesting that he pulled alongside instead of out front. Perhaps he knew what many of us know, that while it feels good to help someone overcome an obstacle, it feels even better to provide them with the tools necessary to navigate through difficulties on their own. Last, one final thought. As exciting as it is sometimes to have someone or something flashy, novel, and exciting as Pelorus Jack to lead, in most cases it doesn't matter as much who leads as long as we are headed in the right direction. And this is how I feel about education in the great state of Kansas. It is headed in the right direction. This is how I feel about each and every candidate here this evening. Each has proven him or herself a capable and effective leader and will do a fine job representing and advocating for this profession and our state. And for that reason, I look forward to this next year. A small chance to lead, but more importantly, the opportunity to work alongside and to learn from each and every one of you. Thank you.